My presentation is on General Omar Nelson Bradley. Omar Nelson Bradley was born on February 12th, 1893, and he was born in Randolph County, Missouri. This was in a very rural part of Missouri. He originally wasn't thinking of going into military, but he ended up going because he saw that he had a lot of qualifications for West Point and saw that he had lots of good futures inside military. He ranked number 2 in his placement exams at West Point, but he ended up going to be number 1 because the first place winner said he couldn't accept the congressional appointment, so he ended up having to drop out and moved Bradley up to number 1. He also played semi-pro baseball, which when he didn't accept any pay for it because he wanted to represent his academy's team. And after that, during World War I, he stayed in Montana. He didn't go overseas during the war, and he was guarding copper mines inside Montana. And finally, when he became general for World War II, he didn't join in until after Operation Torch. His role in World War II, as I said, he didn't join in the war until when America joined in as a whole. And Bradley led 2 battalions, the 82nd and the 28th Division. While he was leading those 2, he was under General Patton, and then he led those 2 battalions and captured Bizerte, Tanzania, which helped a lot with capturing 250,000 troops, which really helped sway the war in the way towards the Allies. After he was done with that, he went into Sicily, Italy, and helped capture that. After he was done with those 2, he moved over to help with France, and he was placed under British Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery and helped plan how to retake France from the Germans. When he was done with that, he went and joined his troops inside the Battle of Normandy. And then after Normandy, he had 4 different armies placed under his command: the 1st, 3rd, 9th, and 15th. And he went and carried out numerous operations throughout Europe, and it was one of the largest forces ever placed under one general. Admiral character traits: Bradley was an extremely smart man with how he planned and how he ran all his stuff. He had a good mind for strategy, so he would always look to see how the best way to get to something. He would set goals and get to them, so he always would work as hard as he could. As I said, hard worker, to try to get to those goals. He never let things stop him. He always looked for the best route to get to his goal. He was an exceptional planner. He always planned out how to get to his goal, and he was a natural leader with commanding a lot of different armies. A few weaknesses I found: he was not a compassionate man. It might have played a role into him having a divorce. A lot of his men didn't feel like he showed compassion to any of them. He was very stubborn at times. He would always want to go with his way. He was impatient, and sometimes he didn't pay attention to some of the details, which could have hurt him. Things we can learn from him: always work hard at what you do, and it will pay off sometimes. If you see things put in front of you, take advantage of them, as he showed when he went to West Point and made a very good career out of it. Be loving to those around you, so not being like him and showing compassion to those around you. Always follow your goals. A little more bibliographical info about him, and this was after the war. Bradley was appointed by President Truman as Joint Chief of Staff, First Chairman, and he was promoted to the General of the Army, which was 1 out of 9 people to have that 5-star rank. He was involved in troop placement during the Korean War. Bradley retired in 1953 as a distinguished military leader, and after that he had a wife, got divorced, and remarried after that. And all I could find that Bradley had was 1 daughter and then the 2 wives. Overall impression: I thought he was a very smart man. He was very good at planning. I would say he could have been a little more compassionate. He was a very strong leader with lots of great military skills. Some quotes I found from him is: "We live in a world of nuclear giants and ethical infants. In a world that has achieved brilliance without wisdom, power without conscience, we have solved the mystery of the atom and forgotten the lessons of the Sermon on the Mount. We know more about war than we know about peace, more about dying than we know about living. A second one I found, the second best decision in time is infinitely better than the perfect decision too late. The end.